What if Earth has a kill switch, a cataclysmic reset that wipes out civilizations every few thousand years? In 1966, a scientist named Dr. Chan Thomas claimed he uncovered this terrifying truth in a book called The Adam and Eve Story. The CIA classified it, hid it for decades, and only declassified 57 pages in 2013. Since then, conspiracy theorists, TikTok creators, and even Joe Rogan have been obsessed. Is this the secret to humanity's past and future, or is it all a hoax? Dr. Chan Thomas, an aerospace engineer with top secret clearances, published The Adam and Eve Story in 1965 with wider attention in 1966. He claimed Earth undergoes violent pole shifts every 6,000 to 7,000 years, triggering in 1,000-mile-per-hour winds, mile-high tsunamis, and global volcanic eruptions. Entire civilizations vanish in hours. Think Atlantis sinking, the biblical flood, ancient cities buried under deserts. Thomas argued these aren't myths, but memories of real cataclysms. He even claimed the next reset is overdue, a theory so dangerous the CIA allegedly seized the book, classifying it for decades. The CIA's involvement is where this gets murky. In 2013, they declassified just 57 pages of the original 284-page manuscript, heavily redacted. Conspiracy theorists believe the agency buried it to prevent mass panic. Imagine if the world knew its expiration. Some speculate it threatened economic stability or social order, a bigger concern than the Cold War. But the declassified pages reveal no hard evidence, only fueling speculation. On Reddit, users debate if the CIA hid a source or method, as the agency often protects intelligence origins per the National Security Act of 1947. Was this a cover-up or just routine protocol? Who was Dr. Chan Thomas? Not a random theorist, but a respected electrical engineer at Bell Aircraft, a designer of the Rascal missile system, lead engineer on the A-40 Skyhawk, and part of McDonnell Douglas' classified Advanced Concepts team. He worked on top secret military projects, collaborated on UFO research with Robert Wood, and had access to classified geological data. This wasn't a fringe conspiracy theorist. Thomas had the credentials to access sensitive information. Did his work on the Adam and Eve story tap into something the government didn't want us to know? Thomas's evidence is chilling. He pointed to abrupt climate shifts in the geological record, fossils of mammoths, frozen mid-meal, entire ecosystems erased instantly. He argued these were caused by sudden pole shifts, not gradual changes. He connected these events to human history, the disappearance of Atlantis, the Great Flood in the Bible, and buried ancient cities. Thomas claimed these cataclysms happen cyclically, every 6,000 to 7,000 years, and we're overdue for the next one. But how much of this holds up?
But the Adam and Eve story, the theory of that is that it happens in cycles of 6,500 years, and that it's a 90-degree flip, but 6 days later, or on the seventh day, it corrects itself.
The planet flips, not just
correct. It's a planet flip, 90-degree, and that because of it, the Earth essentially does a standstill. The sun will basically stay in the same spot, causing heating like we've never experienced, and that the wind and the waters continue with their momentum, because essentially the wind travels at approximately 1,000 miles an hour at the equator. So the theory is that when that event happens, it's going to be cataclysmic. And here's the wild thing, is that in that document, it says a continental-sized tsunami being 2 miles high. Well, I showed you the Emikusi volcano in Africa and the Sahara, which is at 11,300 feet, that has salt as well as evidence of gastropods, sea life.
That's 2 miles high.
Yes. And I'm like, it would make a lot of sense. Like if you look at the Bible and involving like Revelations, and it's saying like
6 days.
6 days, on the seventh day, God rested. In that document, it says 6 days, things start simmering down a bit. And by day 7, things are starting over new.
So this theory exploded in popularity when Joe Rogan discussed it. In episode 1928, aired January 18, 2023, Rogan interviewed Jimmy Corsetti, the YouTuber behind Bright Insight. Corsetti described Thomas's theory, a 90-degree flip of Earth's crust every 6,500 years, causing cataclysmic events like standstill sun positions and 1,000-mile-per-hour winds. Rogan was hooked, saying it might overshadow climate change fears. Clips from this episode went viral, with millions of views, spreading the theory to a new generation of conspiracy seekers. They also discussed Elon Musk, saying he knows.
It's a deep rabbit hole.
What do you do when you go down a deep rabbit hole, though? Is it YouTube videos, books, or how do you educate yourself?
Actually, Wikipedia, the internet, and books and clicking around the internet, Googling Wikipedia, YouTube, whatever. So Twitter can be interesting. I think there was probably something significant that happened at the in the last ice age, because we don't see any evidence of writing. When I say I'm using ice age in the colloquial term, of like when was it very snowy, and where the glaciers came down far, and where summer was short and winter was very long, and that was about 10,000 years ago. So something happened around that ice age, that because we see no writing. No writing before that ice age, and we start to see writing pop up in multiple places on Earth after that, after the most recent colloquially termed ice age. But like I said, there have been times when Earth has been extremely tropical and where it's been a snowball. But these tend to occur over very long periods of time. The global warming thing we're talking about here,
that's about it. He knows.
Billionaires like Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg are building underground bunkers. Take the underground bunker currently in the process of being built by Zuckerberg on the remote Hawaiian island of Kauai, set underneath Zuckerberg's luxury compound and accessible via tunnels that lead from two separate mansions. It features living spaces, a mechanical room and an escape hatch, and soundproof doors, as well as its own food supplies, water tank, and pump system. The bunker cost a whopping $270 million. Elon Musk wants to facilitate the colonization of Mars, based on his belief that a multi-planetary approach is the only viable solution for the long-term survival of the human species. They know something we don't. Another Rogan guest, Randall Carlson, a geomythologist, has appeared on Rogan's podcast multiple times, like in episode 501 in 2014. While he doesn't directly endorse Thomas's book, Carlson's work on the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis resonates with similar themes. He argues a comet impact 12,800 years ago caused rapid climate change and megafauna extinction, supporting the idea of sudden cataclysms in Earth's past. Carlson's geological focus adds a layer of credibility to the idea of ancient disasters, but his theories also remain debated in mainstream science.
Humanity may have survived or sought refuge.
Well, you want to turn back to mythology?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
If we were faced with something like, if we can go back to now what's almost certainly a real
strictly
event.
in mythology.
Okay, so here we got mythology.
Mm-hmm.
And here we have scientific evidence that Earth was blasted around 12,900 years ago by a multi-impact event.
Okay.
A smaller version of what happened to Jupiter. So the event that happened is called the Younger Dryas. Younger Dryas was initially it was an extreme climate event that was documented in Europe because it's named after a flower called Dryas octopetala. Dryas octopetala is a polar wildflower that loves the cold. They saw that it was growing in Europe during the Ice Age, when Europe was 10 degrees colder than now, and then it disappeared. Well, you've got this cold-loving flower that was there, then it was suddenly gone, and then it reappeared. So you had this interval where it warmed up. The younger dry, that was how it was first identified, like 30, 40 years ago, was the study of this polar wildflower. Well, since then, we've learned all kinds of interesting things. One is that the mass extinction of the great megafauna that lived during the Ice Age, there was, over 100 species of megafauna that did not survive the end of the Ice Age, right? I mean, when was the last time you saw a woolly mammoth roaming around the forests of Tennessee?
It's been a minute.
Thomas's theory of cataclysms resonates with Hindu cosmology, particularly the Yuga cycle. In Hindu tradition, time is divided into 4 yugas: Satya Yuga, known as the Golden Age, Treta, Dvapara, and Kali. Each successive yuga is characterized by a decline in virtue and an increase in vice. Kali Yuga, the current age, is described as a period of moral decay, spiritual ignorance, and societal upheaval. The Srimad Bhagavatam outlines the symptoms of Kali Yuga, noting that qualities such as truthfulness, cleanliness, mercy, lifespan, physical strength, and memory will diminish day by day due to the powerful influence of the age. These descriptions eerily mirror contemporary global challenges: widespread misinformation, environmental degradation, and social unrest. Interestingly, some interpretations suggest that within Kali Yuga, there exists a sub-period of spiritual resurgence. The Brahma Vaivata Purana mentions a 10,000-year golden age within Kali Yuga, initiated by Lord Krishna's departure, during which spiritual practices would flourish. This notion aligns with Thomas's idea of cyclical renewal following periods of decline. The Mahabharata describes the transition between yugas as marked by cataclysmic events such as floods and fires, leading to a reset of civilization. These narratives parallel Thomas's timeline of periodic cataclysms, suggesting a possible inspiration drawn from ancient wisdom. While the exact durations and events differ, the overarching theme of cyclical destruction and renewal is a common thread between Thomas's theories and Hindu cosmology. Whether this alignment is a result of direct inspiration or a cosmic coincidence remains open to interpretation. Thomas's book takes an even wilder turn with claims of extraterrestrial intervention. He suggested that after each cataclysm, alien beings, saviors from advanced civilizations, help humanity rebuild. Shockingly, he claimed Jesus Christ was one such figure, a scholar from Nagaland in India, who, after his crucifixion, was taken away by aliens to continue his mission elsewhere. This intersects with various theories and narratives that have emerged over time. The idea that Jesus traveled to India has been explored by several authors. Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, in his 1899 treatise Jesus in India, Ahmad posited that Jesus survived the crucifixion and journeyed eastward, eventually dying a natural death in Kashmir. He supported his claims with references to Islamic texts and local traditions. Nicholas Notovich. In 1894, Notovich claimed to have discovered a manuscript at the Hemis Monastery in Ladakh detailing Jesus' travels and studies in India during his so-called lost years. However, his account has been widely discredited by scholars. Rosabal Shrine, located in Srinagar, Kashmir. The Rosabal Shrine is believed by some, including followers of the Ahmadiyya movement, to be the final resting place of Jesus. This claim, however, lacks historical evidence and is considered a legend by mainstream scholars. Chan Thomas's perspective diverges by introducing extraterrestrial elements. He suggested that angels described in biblical accounts were, in fact, alien beings who arrived in spacecraft. Thomas interpreted Jesus' final words on the cross as being in the ancient Naga language, translating to I am fainting, darkness is overcoming me, implying a connection to Nagaland in India. While Thomas's theories are unconventional and not supported by mainstream scholarship, they reflect a broader fascination with the idea of Jesus' connection to India and the incorporation of extraterrestrial narratives into historical and religious contexts. What does science say? Mainstream science debunks Thomas's claims. NASA and NOAA data show Earth's magnetic poles shift gradually, currently at 34 miles per year toward Russia, trend tracked since 1831. True polar wander, where the crust shifts relative to the rotational axis, happens at 400 grain per million years, not the rapid shifts Thomas described. Magnetic reversals take thousands of years and don't cause climate disasters. The Earth's magnetic field has weakened 9% in 200 years, but there's no evidence this leads to cataclysms. The Lasham event saw a pole reversal, but it lasted 500 years, not hours. Conspiracy theorists point to modern signs, the North Pole's rapid movement, a 10% weakened magnetic field, rising earthquakes, and volcanic activity. Governments are taking measures, building seed vaults, relocating bases to higher ground, installing EMP-proof grids, and creating underground bunkers. Are these preparations for a coming cataclysm, as Thomas predicted, or just planning for known risks like solar flares, like the 1859 Carrington event that disrupted telegraphs? Scientists warn a similar event today could cripple technology, but it's not tied. Even Albert Einstein weighed in on related theories. He wrote to Charles Hapgood, a colleague of Thomas, saying, "Your theory of Earth crust displacement may be of great importance to everything that's coming." Hapgood's work on pole shifts inspired Thomas, suggesting rapid crustal changes could explain ancient ruins and myths. Einstein's endorsement adds intrigue, but his support was theoretical. He never saw the geological data we have today, which contradicts rapid shifts. But it's not tied to pole shifts. Why would the CIA classify this? 3 possible reasons. Mass panic if people knew an apocalypse was coming, economic collapse from societal breakdown and order. The CIA might have seen this as a threat bigger than the Cold War, especially in the 1960s. But with no hard evidence in the declassified pages, some argue it was classified to control narratives about Earth's future. So, is the Adam and Eve story a hidden truth or an elaborate conspiracy? Dr. Chan Thomas's credentials and the CIA's actions make it compelling, but science says rapid pole shifts are a myth. Figures like Joe Rogan, Jimmy Corsetti, Randall Carlson keep the mystery alive, feeding our fascination with lost histories. What do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments.